David, California, you're on the Wilkow Majority. Hello.
Hi, Mike. Hey,
Andrew.
I've only caught. I'm sorry, Andrew. I'm sorry.
That's right.
I apologize. Hey, look, I've only caught out the last 6 minutes, but I thought you were spot on when you were discussing Obama's decision not to defend DOMA. It's a constitutional law. It's been passed by two branches of government. It has not been determined to be unconstitutional by the judicial branch, and it has to be defended. The valid criticism attacking it, it really is not an issue. But the scary part is, what if, a liberal's nightmare happens, Sarah Palin becomes president, and she decides that she's not going to defend laws protecting the right to an abortion. Without taking a subjective position on either issue, the executive has to defend the laws that are in place, period. End of story. Obama can take it to court to vacate it, or he can introduce a bill repealing it and have Congress vote on it, and you sign it.
That's what I said.
Okay? Right, and I'm totally with you. But as far as the Second Amendment discussion, you're way off base.
Oh, boy, here we go.
The gun issue, yeah, there is the Second Amendment. It protects the rights to bear arms. The known criticisms and limitations about that right are well understood. But a senator in New Jersey can easily comment about gun use in Kansas because the application of laws that affect gun use derive not just from the Second Amendment, they derive from all over the place in the Constitution, most notably the Commerce Clause. Now, guns are sold in interstate commerce.
Now, hold on a second. I said if he wants to limit this to the state of New Jersey, if the governor of New Jersey wants to do this, that's totally different than a senator at the federal level saying Jan Brewer must be saddled with this in Arizona.
No, a senator always has standing in a government of both federal and state power.
But hold on. The Commerce, hold on. The Commerce Clause is not an open-ended thing for the federal government to do what it wants when it wants.
Yeah, pretty much it is.
No, it's not, sir. That's not true. If that were the case, there would be no enumerated powers. That's a clause. Put the clause. Do me a favor. Put the clause in context, and then tell me why the Second Amendment forbids the federal government from passing gun laws.
Let me address the issue that you raised without running right over it. Okay, the Commerce Clause is far and away under Supreme Court precedent in history the broadest, strongest, and most easily applicable law, constitutional law, that the federal government can use to control our culture. David, do me a favor. Tell me where in Article 3 the Supreme Court retains this interpretive power that you're explaining. Where in Article 3 it uses its interpretive power?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's any number of cases.
No, not cases. The Constitution created the Supreme Court, not the other way around. I'd like you, as an attorney, to tell me where in Article 3 the Supreme Court retains interpretive powers.
The Supreme Court has original jurisdiction over the Constitution and all laws derived thereof.
But where does it get the interpretive power to redetermine or reinterpret what was laid before it? The Constitution created the Supreme Court, not the other way around, sir. The states created the federal government, not the other way around, sir.
Yes, but they gave that power up.
Okay, tell me where in Article 3. Tell me where in Article 3 that the justices are free to interpret the Constitution.
The power is vested in the Constitution itself, agreed to by the states.
Where do you see the word interpretation?
It doesn't need the word interpretation. It doesn't need the word...
Yes, it does, sir. If the federal government passed a law declaring that the United States would be under a United Baptist Church, without much time to react, there would be people who would file lawsuits saying that is a violation of the First Amendment and the Establishment Clause. The Supreme Court, having original jurisdiction, would be able to clearly look at the First Amendment and say, you're right, the law is stricken. The Supreme Court was not empowered to determine its own powers and reinterpret the Constitution. Read Article 3 verbatim. Read Article 3 verbatim, sir.
The legislative branch, together with the executive, is given the power to amend the jurisdiction, original and appellate, of the Supreme Court. That's why there's three co-equal branches. The executive,
right. The Supreme Court can strike laws that are an affront to the Constitution. Nowhere in Article 3, the creation of the Supreme Court, is the Supreme Court given an interpretive power.
It's a 24-page document. It doesn't comprehend.
So you're admitting that I'm right, that the Supreme Court is assuming powers here. The only document the Supreme Court is allowed to use when it's making its rulings is the Constitution that set forth its creation.
I'm sorry, you're drawing a circular argument.
No, I'm sorry, you're wrong. Your academic pedigree does not outweigh the strength of my argument. Thank you very much for the call. Article 3 of the United States Constitution does not provide broad interpretive powers for the Supreme Court. So what the Supreme Court thinks about the broad interpreting the supposedly broad powers of the Commerce Clause is not true. Sorry. That went round and round and round. I gave him all his time. I got to take my break. Sirius XM Patriot.